Hi, this is Gilles. I'm also known as the radio prepper on YouTube. I have a amateur radio channel. But this is not about radio, it's about sailing. You know, I've done a lot of interesting things in my life, like flying ultralights, airplanes, cave diving, you name it, I've tried it. Skydiving. But the thing that gave me the most freedom was sailing, undoubtedly. In 2014, I was living in Florida, and Florida was awesome. I mean, it was just paradise, paradise on earth. Sarasota, Florida, on the west coast. But I kind of fell into a routine, and all my days were the same. And as much as, a paradise as it was, I was trapped in that routine, and time was flying by, and I felt like I had to do something, that I had to go somewhere. And the best way to do that, in my opinion, was just building a boat. So I found a design by a guy named John Welsford. And he has some really good designs. And the one that caught my eye is called the Fafnir. And I started building it. Fortunately, I had a friend who was a CAD designer and another friend who had a woodworking shop. So that was pretty convenient. And I started on the project. I got some wood cut and shapes by CNC machine. I put the Kilson down and epoxied it, and I was on my way to really build it thing. But in the meantime, I was still looking on the internet for boats because I love boats, and I found the perfect boat for me, and that was a Francis 26 by Morris Francis 26. It's a double-ender, and it's an awesome boat, 26 foot long, and it was a deal. So it needed some work, but I got a deal with the guy, and I paid him in a few installments, and I got the boat. It was awesome. So I stopped building the Fafnir. I had barely started, so it wasn't so much of a loss. And I put the little money that I had at the time to restore the Francis 26, and it took about a year. So at the end of 2015, I was ready to go. It was December, end of December, and one morning at the end of the month, the weather was going to be good because to cross the Gulf Stream, you need to wait that the wind is from the south. If it's from the north, just forget it. You just can't cross. The waves are very square and high, and it's pretty dangerous for a small boat. So. But there was going to be a good weather for a couple of days, and I decided to go. I left from the Fort Pierce Inlet, if I remember well, and that was way too far north. I should have gone south first, but of course I didn't listen to what people told me, and I left from there and tried to head for West End. Actually, I wasn't quite sure if I was going to go to West End first or somewhere further north to check in. So I was aiming pretty much for Memory Rock. And after 19 hours of absolutely incredible time at the helm, I arrived on the Bahama Bank. And I say incredible because I had never really sailed out of sight of land before. So I know this is not really, but if you know the way I do things, you wouldn't think it's so crazy. But so I safely arrived on the Bahama Bank, and I was about 30 miles north of West End. Now I was really tired, and so I decided to throw the anchor and spend the night. But of course, as soon as I stopped the boat, the motion changed, and I got really seasick. And I mean, I couldn't drink, eat anything. I could barely stand, and I was just vomiting all the time. And I stayed there for 2.5 days. So after a while, I was even hearing people talking, and I thought there was somebody outside the boat in another boat that saw me and just came to check me out. But it wasn't. It's just I was hearing voices. It was auditory hallucinations. So I was pretty bad. I was in a bad shape. I had a satellite gizmo to call for help if I needed to. I had my radio. I had a bunch of radios actually. Remember a radio prepper. But I didn't because I didn't feel like the situation was that bad. And maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But no, I don't. Actually, looking back, I don't think it was that bad. I was just seasick, badly seasick. But this started a chain of events that led to the tragedy for me that I'm going to recount to you. I wanted to leave on the third day. The weather was changing and it was getting better. So I decided to pick up my anchor and go to West End, which was 30 miles south. Now, I couldn't start my engine. And I think that the 19 hours of Gulf Stream crossing, just, something got loose, a wire maybe, who knows. I tried to find the cause, but I couldn't find it. So I tried to retrieve the anchor from the deck by hand. It's a 35-pound anchor with a lot of, I think 40 feet of chain. And I mean, it's pretty heavy. Not that it's too heavy for me, but in my state, my weakened state, I wasn't able to bring it up. And I tried for a long time. I tried for probably 30, 45 minutes to bring that antenna. See, I'm still in radio mode. That anchor back up. Finally, I decided to cut it loose because I had to get out of there. The weather was going to be bad and I didn't want to spend another night there, and that wouldn't have solved my problem anyway. I mean, except if I called for someone to help me, but I'm not the kind of guy who's going to bother other people unless it's extremely necessary. So I cut the anchor, started sailing, no engine, sailed south for a couple of days. I slept near an island. It was great because the sun was out and it was very pleasant. And at last I was sailing and having fun, and it was awesome. Finally, the night of the second day, I got to West End. And I didn't have an engine to come inside to the marina. And it was a big problem. And I tried to call on the radio. I finally got the marina, but they said, nobody's there to give you a hand, to tow you. So I didn't have a choice. I anchored next to the shore, the beach. Spent the night there, slept very well. I woke up in the morning, I felt refreshed and strong and no problem. Everything was awesome. So I inflated my dinghy, put the motor on, went to, actually I tried to tow my boat with the dinghy with a 2.5 horsepower motor. And actually my boat was towing the dinghy, it just wasn't the other way around. So I decided to anchor again. And I don't know if I made a mistake there. I know now that the anchoring ground isn't good over there at West End. So, and my anchor was smaller also. I had a small, I think 15-pound CQR, and the other one was a Mantis 35-pound, excellent anchor. I mean, really, that thing kept me on the Bahama bank with big waves, and I mean for 2.5 days. So that anchor would have been fine, but I had that small CQR anchor. The night before it was fine, it held just fine. So, and you're starting to get the idea of what's going to happen here. And yeah, it's awful. I went to check in with Immigration and Customs. I was hungry, so I hadn't eaten for 3 days. And I went to the restaurant, got a meal. After that, I thought, well, I'll get a drink and go on my computer and send some emails, tell everyone I'm fine. So I did that. It was the end of December, so the sun got down pretty early. So maybe at around 5:30 p.m., close to 6 p.m., I decided to go back to the boat. So I took my dinghy. I went outside and I went looking for my boat. The boat wasn't there. And that's when you have the adrenaline flowing and you just, I mean, I can't even describe the feeling when something like that happens. Frantically came back into the marina. found someone with a very big yacht and asked him if he had radar to look if he could see anything. And he tried and couldn't see my boat. I found a few guys on a boat, American guys, and I asked them if they could take me just a little bit around, try to find it. And I can't thank them enough. You know, they took me and we searched for like 2 hours. And I think we went a little bit too far west. We should have been going north and searching north. The fact is that we didn't find the boat. So I came to the marina. I actually called everyone, and Coast Guard, local police, and so on. I spent the night in the hotel lobby, the marina lobby, because I didn't have anything. I just had my computer. I had a few bucks. I had my passport, and that's it. I had nothing else. So I thought, well, I need to make some noise here. And I went to the Cruisers Forum and recounted my story. And the help I got was just overwhelming, guys. I just couldn't believe it. People were, helping me search. The Seven Seas Cruising Association, everyone was helping me. People sent me, $20, $10 here and there. And I was able to actually wait there, Actually, the next day in the morning, I got a visit from a guy from Basra, which is the Volunteer Rescue Association of the Bahamas. And he took me on his boat, and we left early morning, and we had an estimation of the position of the boat. And we searched for 11 hours, and we were in the middle of nowhere in that little plastic tub. It was just crazy, and I can't believe this man just helped me do that. I just paid for the gas. He didn't ask me for any money, extra money, or anything like that. And it was just out of the goodness of his heart, and I can't thank him enough for that. We didn't find the boat. We didn't find it. I did get an email from the Coast Guard saying that they saw it. It was spotted, presumably about 30 miles north. Actually close to the spot where I actually was anchoring before. So it must have been taken by the Gulf Stream and just drifted north. And now it's about 2.5 years later, and no news of the boat, nothing. Everything I owned was in that boat. I had nothing else. But it's not so much the material things that I lost, it's the dream. Actually, I didn't lose the dream because I still have it. I still want to go. I still want to go sailing and go as far as I possibly can. But I lost my means of doing that. And now I'm stuck. I'm back here in France because my parents live here, and they're getting older, and I hadn't seen them for a long time. So I came back here, and I think I might just do it again and build a boat this time, and really start and finish it. Of course, I can guarantee that it's going to work, and I sometimes you start a project, and a year later something happens, and you have to quit or anything. So I won't make any promises, and I'm actually kind of reluctant to publish this video because it's putting pressure on me, and of course that might be good too because if I say, hey, I'm going to build a boat, I better build a boat, because I usually I do what I say I'm going to do. Maybe it's a good thing, I don't know. But I found another design that I knew about before, but the plans were very expensive, still are very expensive. It's the Farthing from Tom McNaughton. I hope I pronounced that right. It's a great design. It's a 15-foot boat with a Chinese lug sail. It's pretty heavy for its size. It's a full keel, of course. It's not a double-lander. I would have preferred that, but in that size, you're not going to find that. It's really a boat for one person, but it's not a day sailor, and it's not meant for coastal cruising. Of course, it would be great for that, but it's also designed to cross oceans. Now, I don't know if I'll ever cross an ocean. I crossed the Gulf Stream. I think that was kind of cool. And I don't regret doing it, by the way, even though I lost my boat and I lost everything else I own in my life. The tragedy really would have been not trying. But I did try, and I did live that adventure for, a short week, so to speak, a little less than that. I still feel like I had to do it, and now I feel like I have to do it again, because it's, I don't know, it's in me. I want to go out there, and you can live a regular life and do the things everybody else does, and nothing wrong with that. I would have loved to have had a family and children, and it just didn't turn out that way. But I really feel like I want to do something extraordinary, and by extraordinary, I only mean out of the ordinary. I want to see different places. I want to see different people. I want to see how they live. I want to experience all that. I want my present to be pleasant. Maybe not always pleasant, but unexpected, and full of wonders. And to do that, I need to build a boat. I could wait and buy one, but I'm afraid I would maybe lose focus. Maybe not lose focus, but things in France tend to drag on, and it's very hard to save up money, and it's very difficult to do things because there is a bureaucracy that's overwhelming, and the French mentality is not in helping or facilitating people that want to do things that are out of the ordinary. Let's just put it like this. I don't like France much. I like very much some aspects of France, but a lot of others I do not like. Yet I have the facility here to build. I think the Farthing is a great design, and I have the plans now. And my friend Erin is going to put that into cutting files, and I want to start building. And I want to make this boat, actually, I'll go back to radio a little bit. I want to make this boat a radio station, amateur radio station. And I think that will be very interesting, and I'm sure all my radio subscribers who probably will be watching this at some point will appreciate that, and that will be very interesting. My goal in making this video is to actually share the adventure, the building process, and hopefully later the sailing. I hope so. And to get some advice, and maybe give some advice, get a little bit of help, and to just share the experience with you guys and girls. So that's it for this one. I don't know what the next video will be. Hopefully I'll have made something, at least put a couple pieces of wood together, and I'll have something to show. Have a good one.